Hi friends, welcome to the NPTEL course Business Development from Start to Scale. We are in week 3 with the theme of industry structure and company analysis. In this lecture, the 30th in the series, I'll focus on industrial transformations. When I say industrial, it also includes business. India has a $5 trillion mission. We have had difficulties caused by COVID 19 and more recent geopolitical developments. However, India can still aspire to be a $5 trillion economy by 2030. The driving force for this would be enhanced GDP. Business development needs to guide at the firm level strategies in terms of products and services on one hand and channelize consumer demand on the other. The way the private and public sector enterprises function and create wealth would be a great support for India's $5 trillion mission. The drivers for this mission are India's market potential, government reforms, global liquidity, PLI schemes, that is, production linked incentive schemes, and the Make in India initiative. All of these things will provide supply side push. We also have two types of firms which are in this mission. The first type, the old economy companies under transformation, be it the engineering firms or the shipping companies or the automobile companies. There are also new economy digital driven companies such as the Nikas, Zomatos, and Paytms of the world. In this overall network, there is a strong role for business development. It needs to channel the supply side push into the right products and services. It must connect the local and global markets with enhanced supply. In the context of the above, business development has to be linked with corporate and business strategies more than ever. Business development also has to be linked to the other functional strategies such as strategic marketing, development of strategic plans, and things like that. BD has its task cut out in supporting the successful transformation of the old economy industries as well as smooth entry of new economy industries. I would consider now several industrial situations which demonstrate to us the kind of transformation that is on the anvil in each of these industries. All of these slides are very busy slides with a lot of data and information, and it is not my intention to present each of these data points in this lecture. However, I will pause for sufficient time for you to go through at a quick glance the data and information provided, and along with my speech you will be able to find out the contours of the emerging industries. India is expected to be the world's third largest automotive market in terms of volume by 2026. We are presently the fourth largest. We have a strong position in the international heavy vehicles arena. We are the largest tractor manufacturer, second largest bus manufacturer, and the third largest heavy trucks manufacturer in the world. It is not a mean achievement considering that in the late 70s we were producing just 40,000 vehicles of all types. India also has recognized the electric vehicle need seriously. We are going to have a situation where the EV market is going to grow at rapid pace, expected to be 44%. We also have 100% foreign direct investment allowed under the automatic route in this industry. Even otherwise, the industry has been contributing 7.1% share in India's GDP and 4.3% share in India's export. 35 million jobs are generated by the automobile industry. And all of these things are going to grow substantially manifold when the automobile industry transformation takes place. That's because the existing industry will be there and an entirely new industry based on clean energy vehicles will be superimposed on this industrial structure. Therefore, firms have to take strategic decisions, develop their businesses in a manner that they meet national goals, the climate goals, and also firms' financial and fiscal goals. Typically, industries evolve from one class to another, and automobile industry is a classic example. Electric mobility is the key driver of this transformation. Government of India targets, although not mandated, a 30% share for electric vehicles by 2030. We are having 49% in manufacturing GDP and 7.1%, as I said earlier, in the overall GDP. If the automobile mission plan proceeds as per the plan, the contributions are expected to be significantly higher, maybe 2 to 3 basis points. We are expected to be valued at $2 billion electric vehicle market by 2025 with a penetration of 16% by 2025. Similarly, in two-wheeler segment, we are expected to have 20% penetration. As of now, the electric vehicles in four-wheeler segment are expected to be only 5%. But together with hybrids, flex fuel vehicles, hydrogen, we will be able to achieve even 50% share in the four-wheeler market as we look forward for the future. The FAME policy of the government of India to incentivize the electric mobility is also paying off, with several transport undertakings wanting to have electric vehicle services. The Indian electric automobile industry is not going to be just an industry, it's going to be an entire net ecosystem or network. We need charging stations, we need battery swapping stations, and we need new fuel making companies, that whether it is a flex fuel or whether it is hydrogen fuel. Customers of two wheelers are going to be in the lead in terms of electric revolution. However, passenger cars and also lighter end of trucks are not going to be far behind. A new concept of electric mobility is going to take place in the passenger sector, wherein the transport undertakings would expect the manufacturers to offer electric mobility as a service. There's going to be EMAS, electric mobility as a service. So, business development efforts are required for the electric automobile industry to take roots and spread itself in multiple directions, creating a virtuous ecosystem through networking efforts with all the vendors, channel partners, and other stakeholders. Allied to the automobile industry is the automobile component industry. Initially, it was in the total shadow of the original equipment manufacturing industry, that is the end automobiles. However, today the automobile company industry has emerged from the shadows. It is an industry in its own right, with its own production capabilities, with its own ability to serve other engineering and other infrastructure sectors, and more importantly, a hub of export production. It covers 2.3% of India's GDP, has high job potential, 5 million jobs to be exact. Over the last 6 years, it has been demonstrating a 13% growth rate, and there is a huge opportunity for new technologies because of the clean mobility options that I have outlined. And we are expecting new components to be required for millions of vehicles. Now, what is the opportunity that the auto component industry has now? One, it has the opportunity to lead the change. It has the responsibility to collaborate with original equipment manufacturers. It has the responsibility to tie up with the global electric vehicle system, and it has to network with other industries. The industry has many challenges of phasing out the current industry structure. Several components that are required for internal combustion engines, be it the cylinder head, the crankshaft, or the camshaft, and the valves, etc., will no longer be required if it is electrification. But at the same time, if hydrogen is going to be the dominant fuel, at least in certain segments of the automobile industry, such as trucks and buses, it is quite possible that the existing architecture of internal combustion engine will be retained substantially, with hydrogen playing its part. Therefore, the phase out of the established technologies and the phase in of the new technologies cannot be a knee jerk reaction. It has to be carefully planned for in association with the technology developers as well as the original equipment manufacturers. The growth drivers for this transformation of becoming a $200 billion industry by 2026, which is very ambitious, is going to happen because of the following. One, expanding R&D hub. 8% of the country's R&D expenditure, which is in the automotive sector, needs to be doubled. We need to be the global sourcing hub for all the emerging and established automobile hubs, including Japan and Korea. We need to be cost competitive by cost of manufacture as well as by the tax structure. We need to become a supplier for the sixth largest vehicle manufacturing country in the world, and we need to have a favorable trade policy. And auto components are going to play a major role in the Atmanirbhar program, that is the self-reliance program of the Narendra Modi government. There are already many developed countries which are the top destinations for exports: USA, Germany, UK, Thailand. We also have a strong aftermarket segment because the demand for aftermarket products is linked to the population on the roads. We could see some divergence in strategy at the apex level and marketing at the functional level. Let's look at the Indian tire industry. It is also an established industry closely allied to the automobile industry. There are as many as 41 tire companies in India with 66 tire manufacturing plants. The output is valued at $8.5 billion, and the exports is as high as $1.8 billion. This is one of the industries which has got very high export intensity at 21.4%. In comparison, the automobile OEMs have probably an export intensity of 10%. The names I have listed here: Apollo Tires, Bridgestone, Seat, Continental, Goodyear, JK Tire, Michelin, MRF, and TVS Eurogrip illustrate the kind of depth and breadth the tire companies in India have in terms of providing tires for every conceivable automobile. Looking at the map, you can see that the tire industry is pretty well spread out, particularly in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, given the proximity to the rubber manufacturing state of Kerala, in Maharashtra, given the proximity to engineering and automobile industry, and in certain other regions of the country, mainly with reference to the logistics costs and advantages that accrue along with the automobile component dispatches. This is the segmental production. The total tire production has been going up substantially, a significant annual rate of growth, but due to COVID, it has taken some kind of dip over the last 2 years. Out of the various tires that are produced, two-wheeler tires naturally account for the maximum share by numbers, followed by passenger car, medium and heavy commercial vehicles, light commercial vehicles, and tractor tires. The segmental exports are also substantially different. In terms of the tire exports, total tire exports have been to the value of 335 lakhs, and in truck and bus segment it has been 36.24, and in terms of the farm agriculture it has been 34, passenger car 22, and two three-wheeler 37. It is and of the road tires it is 21. Therefore, it is more or less uniformly distributed across the various segments of the vehicle industry, which requires tires of all sizes. Within the global tire industry turnover, you can see that there has been periods of high growth, and there also have been periods of decline and again rejuvenation of the growth. As far as the Indian industry is concerned, the expectation is that the tire industry will continue to have a forward-looking growth direction. Let's look at another industry, chemical industry. This is one of the industries which is going to have great potential in the context of the China Plus One strategy that is being looked at by several companies which have chemicals as their inputs. The petrochemical demand is expected to grow at 7.5%, and within that, the polymer demand is expected to grow at 8%. Agrochemical market is also expected to grow at 8%. However, the specialty chemicals would be growing at even faster clip. As of now, the specialty chemicals constitute 18% of the total chemicals and petrochemicals market in India. And the types of chemicals where there could be higher emphasis in future would be the specialty chemicals, which are constituted into petrochemicals, agrochemicals, pharma chemicals, and various other chemicals, including those which are used in the paints and other industries. Again, these classifications help the strategists to take appropriate business development approaches for the chemical industry. What are the growth drivers for the Indian chemical industry? The Indian chemical industry is an input to far more number of industries than we are aware of. Any household item has a touch of chemicals either embedded or externally seen in one form or the other. And the rising disposable income, median age of the population, urbanization, and growing penetration and demand from rural markets are contributing to the growth of the Indian chemical industry. Similarly, the shift in production towards Asian and Southeast Asian countries is also going to provide a big boost. People like a healthier lifestyle and environment friendly products. Therefore, the chemical industry itself is likely to be disrupted in terms of more environment friendly products. There is a huge opportunity to produce USD 111 billion worth of chemical products by 2023 for domestic requirements. And the production linked incentive scheme for manufacturing of advanced cell chemistry batteries under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is also going to provide a great boost. We have to act under different canopies with different thrust areas to be able to handle this opportunity in India and abroad. And we have to also meet the environmental concerns. The ability of the Indian chemical industry to be climate friendly, to be environmental friendly, is going to be the big clincher as far as the globalization of the Indian chemical industry is concerned. After the Indian chemical industry, we have got the oil marketing and oil refining. We have three major public sector oil companies, which are both the refiners and marketers of oil and petroleum products, and they are giant companies. They have pan India national distribution and the retail infrastructure. They have got turnovers which are continuously growing given the demand for the petroleum products in India. While electrification is going to lead to a slowdown, but the growing rate of industrialization would ensure that at least for the next 5 to 10 years, the growth profile of the oil refining and oil marketing industry gets established. However, the oil companies are not smug to this fact. They are trying to change the value chains of their companies. A classic example is the value chain transformation of Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, which is a central public sector enterprise of India. It is a case study of structural and strategic transformation which will happen when you are going to have industrial transformation. It was to have had a privatization this fiscal, that is 2021-22, but it is now postponed because of the requirements for a better valuation. The company has got a 1 lakh crore investment plan in Indian rupees. The idea is to convert as many as 50% of petrol pumps into energy stations. That means any type of energy will be supplied in those petrol pumps, not merely petrol or diesel. They are also going to establish petrochemical adjacencies at the refineries. There is going to be a thrust on enhancing city gas network. BPCL is committed to solar and wind power generation, besides production of CNG, LNG, and green hydrogen. Ethanol facilities and blending facilities are being set up. In fact, Indian Oil Corporation has taken the lead to establish a dedicated plant for ethanol production, which also will use up the stubble which is being brought out of the farm operations in Punjab and northern parts of India, and it will achieve two purposes. One, it provides the feedstock for the ethanol production. Two, it eliminates the pollution caused by the burning of farm stubble. Business development by OMCs has invested in the past on owning of the fuel stations. But this is now going to be the new competitive advantage for these oil marketing companies, because this can be repurposed to be energy stations and suppliers of clean energy for the automobile industry and the road transportation industry. Now let's look at the capital goods industry. It's a huge industry, a market size of 43 billion US dollars. It has 10 subsectors: heavy electrical equipment, dies, molds and press tools, process plant equipment, textile machinery, earth moving and mining machinery, machine tools, printing machinery, plastic machinery, food processing machinery, and metallurgical machinery. This illustrates the diversified skills India has in terms of the capital goods design and production. Of these, of course, the heavy electrical equipment which go into thermal power plants, hydropower plants are the largest. We are the largest subsector in terms of electrical equipment, followed by plant equipment and earth moving mining machinery. The Indian generation and transmission and distribution equipment market is expected to reach $100 billion by 2022, which means that what we see as $24 billion is going to have a huge run up towards that number. Current employment is 5 million, and the expected employment by 2025 is 25 million. The share in manufacturing is about 12%, and electric machinery is exported to the tune of $10 billion. But the biggest challenges for the industry are in terms of coping with the transition towards the clean energy. And this needs to be addressed by venturing into many new domains. Again, in this area, the established companies are taking the initiative to have supplemental lines of clean energy equipment. BHEL, the largest engineering company, capital goods company of India, with a 502 billion turnover in rupees, is engaged in the design, engineering, manufacturing, construction, testing, and servicing of a wide range of heavy equipment required by India's core sector. And what is it doing? It is looking at the customer profile in terms of state electricity boards, discoms, railways, core sector companies, and others, and getting into other areas such as renewables, transportation, low carbon capture, and things like that. BHEL would want to play a big role in the clean railway transportation industry as well. So while it has to support the aging equipment of the established thermal and hydro plants, it also has to cater to the new energy industry that is coming up in a big way. BHEL needs to compete with the new technologies from overseas majors, even as the core customers comprising power plants, public utilities, and distribution companies and transportation companies focus on low carbon footprint. The challenge for BHEL is immense, but the management is gearing up to achieve that new transition very quickly. So when you look at these six industries, the role of business development is in terms of answering many intriguing questions that arise. The kind of phase out and phase in of established and new industries, and providing novel solutions in a contemporary industrial and business evolution. Incremental projections have no place. Even quantitative models may have little benefit when the kind of structural change is going to take place in all the industries. So, in respect of automobile industry, the questions are how do you retain the customers for ICE vehicles, and how also simultaneously switch the customers from ICE to new energy vehicles. How do we network with various stakeholders for the electric vehicle infrastructure? As far as the automobile components industry is concerned, we need to have a new level of B2B marketing to blend service to ICE as well as EV locally and globally. We also need to have a new level of B2C marketing to serve the ICE vehicle population on ground in terms of the aftermarket space support, service support. As far as the automobile tire industry is concerned, at one level it is not impacted whether the vehicle is going to be ICE or electric vehicle. However, we need to find out how we need to and how we could enhance global exports, given that this is one part that is completely insulated. In respect of the chemical industry, we need to support the migration from China and make sure that we benefit from the China One policy of the global companies. We need to have enhanced capacities, and also we need to market those capacities to a spectrum of national and global industries. And as I said earlier, we need to have environmentally friendly production of chemicals. As far as the oil industry is concerned, it needs to reorient itself to cleaner energy options. It needs to rebrand itself as the supplier of energy rather than as the supplier of fossil fuel based petrol and diesel. Capital goods industry has its task cut out in terms of dovetailing with the renewable energy industry of all types and also getting into newer avenues such as the rail transportation. Companies in current times, let alone the future times, are required to focus more on business and industrial transformations than on just revenues and profits. Earning revenues and profits is a day-to-day transactional activity. But transformation of the business or the industry for future sustainability is going to be the biggest challenge for business development. The role is one of partnership with the CEO for strategic change. Let's look at a case study of Ether and Ola Electric in respect of the industrial transformation. As by now you know, the Indian automobile industry is one of the largest industries in India. In its peak or at its peak, the industry has produced 31 million vehicles, of which as many as 25 million vehicles are in terms of two wheelers. We have a sizable passenger vehicle production of 4 million vehicles, commercial vehicle production of 1.1 million vehicles, three wheel production of 1.3 million vehicles, and very small quadricycle production. Although because of COVID and the softening of the economic cycles, the production has come down. We are now having a situation where the capital expenditure cycle is on the uptick, and similarly the various parts of the automobile industry are moving up. Also the supply chain disruptions, the semiconductor supply disruptions that we had in the last 2 years are easing, and we are going to have much higher production of automobiles as we go forward. In this, the global electric vehicles are going to be an important constituent. If you see the table from 2016 to 2021, the production of electric vehicles has gone up in an amazing way from 51,000 vehicles in 2016 to 8,70,000 vehicles in 2021. In order to limit global warming below 2 degrees Celsius as per the Paris Agreement, the world is expected to need 500 million electric vehicles by 2030. There is also a multi-government program called Electric Vehicle Initiative for getting 30% of market share for battery power cars, buses, trucks and vans by 2030. For India to be a leader in electric vehicles, we need a comprehensive policy covering not only the automobile industry but also the battery industry, various other clean energy options, and the charging and repowering infrastructure on a national scale. We need to have an Indian automobile industry which is not just a bystander. We need not be waiting for the opportunity to be mandated. The automobile industry has within itself the capability to take the lead and become a global leader in electric vehicle as also clean energy vehicle production. Now let's look at the major two-wheeler manufacturers in India. I am focusing on the two-wheelers mainly because they are the current hub of electrification in the automobile industry. We have Kilo Motor Corp, Bajaj Auto, TVS Motor Company, Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India Private Limited, Yamaha Motors, Mahindra Two Wheelers and Suzuki Motorcycle India. They have annual capacities ranging from a humble 0.6 million units to a strong 9 million unit capacity. And there are also several electric two-wheeler developers and manufacturers which have established their bases in India. Hero Electric, Okinawa Scooters, Ampere Electric, Ather Energy, Bajaj Auto, TVS Electric, Begas and Ola Electric are some examples. Of these, Ather Energy is an IIT Madras Research Park incubated startup established as early as in 2013. So it is a matter of pride for the Indian Institute of Technology that such a path-breaking initiative has come from the IIT Madras Research Park. So when you look at the electric vehicle development in India, two models come up. One is the Ather model and the second is the Ola Electric model. Ather model was an early pioneer and it was the first startup venture in the electric vehicles in 2013, which is now backed by Hero. It has two scooters on sale, 450 Plus and 450X. It is now present in over 2 dozen cities and the company wants to be in 100 cities by FY 2023. And the company will have 110,000 units as an annual production target. Ola is a late starter. We know that Ola is a company famous for its ride handling business, but it has been a late starter in the electric business. However, it has moved aggressively into the EV space from 2018. It has two models on offer, Ola S1 and S1 Pro. Ola Electric is setting up a huge facility claimed to be the biggest electric two-wheeler producing plant in the world with a capacity of 10 million. It has investments from Hyundai and Kia, apart from other investors, and it plans to get into electric four-wheelers also soon. Ather's approach is that it must be slow, steady, and measured in its approach. About 90% of the Ather 450 is localized, and the cells are imported from LG Korea, known for its quality and technology. Large bulk of the parts are coming even today from vendors in South India. The factory operates on a one to day stock system. It is a kind of just in time ecosystem that is operating for Ather. The factory will have a capacity, as I said, of 100,000 electric vehicles and 120,000 lithium ion batteries. The surplus of lithium ion batteries will go for the servicing and aftermarket requirements, as well as for battery swapping requirements, if that were to be the route taken by Ather. Ather scooters are developed indigenously by the IIT Madras Research Park incubated startup. The Ather journey started in October 2013, raising seed capital and then moving into hedge funds for their subsequent capital rounds and roping in Hero Motocorp for additional funding, and then finally launching the electric vehicles and then making them more popular. Now it has Ather's own retail showrooms in big cities and Tier 1 cities. Ola's approach is completely different. It has planned an ambitious plant in a large 500-acre site. It has also established two dedicated supplier parks at the site. The company wants to establish as many as 3,000 robots in the manufacturing and assembly lines. By way of comparison, Maruti Suzuki, which has a tradition of passenger car manufacture for nearly 4 decades, has 7,000 robots on its lines. Ola S1 and Ola S1 Pro are currently the two products on offer. They are stated to be engineered and developed by Ola, but it looks as though some overseas studios have provided part support. The path to 10 million scooters is paved by the four factors. One, a firm vision that electric mobility would be the future. Two, the need for investing substantially in capital facilities to be able to erect entry barriers and to have the necessary throughput. Then, at its zenith, aspiring to be the world's largest scooter factory and planning to install simultaneously a charging infrastructure all over the country. The Vora Electric's journey has been from 2017 to date, and it has been going very smoothly, except that in April 2022 it had to recall as many as 1,441 units due to safety concerns related to the fires. It has had investment by SoftBank, and it also joined the Unicorn Club in 2019. This is a comparison of the specification of ICE and electric two-wheelers, and in respect of certain capabilities, the electric vehicles are proving to be as capable as the established ICE engine vehicles. Ola is also coming up with a charging system which it calls hypercharger network, which will have 4,000 charging points by 2023, which will be deployed at all the BPCL pumps, malls, and IT parks. It would have customers with the ability to monitor through an app the charging requirements. It will also provide home charging, and there would be an expansion possibility to as many as 100,000 charging points across 400 cities. Ola Electric has done something which no automobile company has done to date in India. It has gone completely digital in terms of booking and the sales process. Whether it is the appeal of electric or the power of marketing, the future will tell. But Ola Electric has shaken up the conventional selling processes through the digitization mechanisms it has opened up. Ola is also planning to launch an electric car by 2023-24. Many experts believe that it is an ambitious plan, in fact, a far too ambitious plan given the glitches that are being experienced already in the electric scooter segment. The important fact is that however much the electric vehicles are needed in a nation's ecosystem, no one should and can cut short the development process, because this structural change in the electric vehicle industry growing as part of the two-wheeler industry has to be on the basis of reliability, durability, and quality. It also has to be based on progressive decline of the prices so that customers are able to make a wise and appropriate choice between ICE vehicles and the new generation electric vehicles. These are the twin challenges that are facing the electrical vehicle industry. To achieve 100% made in India electric vehicles, you need to have high import duty on fully built electric vehicles and low import duty on the components that go into it. Similarly, there must be several initiatives to curb imports of cheap components from China and make the local industry self-reliant and self-sufficient. Big automobile groups such as Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, Mahindra and Mahindra, TVS Motor, Bajaj Auto getting into the electric vehicle space, some directly by their divisions and some inorganically through their subsidiaries, is going to be a big boost for the electric vehicle space in India, because these groups have got the capability to scale up and scope up the electric vehicle production in various segments. TVS is one great example of having an electric vehicle focused vertical where 1,000 crores are dedicated for an EV focused product development and manufacture. But the company is also going full speed on having more efficient ICE powered vehicles to supplement the requirements till the electrification is complete. There have been recent safety concerns on electric two wheelers in India. It is reported strongly in the popular press, and the government has set up a committee. And from the preliminary inferences that are provided, it looks like the thermal management system is at fault, and some of the battery components that have been imported are tuned for low temperature environments rather than the high temperature environment that exists. In addition to that, there seem to be some issues in how the customers are charging the electric vehicles through the normal electrification networks. So the risks for electric vehicle strategy are in terms of these five factors. One, it is a greenfield and unconventional strategy of trying to bring to the market in the fastest possible time and overcoming the homologation standards. So even as the manufacture and marketing is taking place, the homologation standards for electric vehicles, certification standards are getting evolved in a progressive manner. There is a little element of risk involved in this. Secondly, assembling of an electric vehicle is not going to be the same as assembling of a mechanical scooter or car. It is going to be a little different optimization of the various constituent systems, because all these systems are electrically and electronically tied together. Third, no one can ignore the importance of high engineering and high quality in electric vehicle development. And we need to have the highest levels of these two factors so that India attains a global production. And fourthly, the user himself or herself also needs a lot of education. There are lots of do's and don'ts which need to be followed as far as the electric vehicles are concerned. Like, as an example, not parking the vehicle in a hot area to charging it with prescribed periodicity. There are many intricacies of owning an electric vehicle that are still unknown to consumers. Electric vehicle manufacturers have a great role in educating the customers about this. On one hand, the digital access is going to be helpful. On the other hand, lack of established dealer network could be the handicap. So every tiny detail needs to be provided to the customers for them to be up to speed on the safety system and operational requirements of an electric vehicle. And finally, the talent conundrum. When you have an electric vehicle industry moving along at a fast clip along with the established industry, and when the skill sets are going to be quite different, talent is going to be in short supply. And as more companies enter the field, there is going to be a battle or war for talent, and that's going to be leading to constant revamping of the organization structure or slowing down or even halting of the process flow in the electric vehicle. So there are risks to the electric vehicle strategy. When you look at Ather and Vola Electric, You can see this as a combination of strategy and technology. Both are required. Ether has been an early pioneer but a slow developer. It is a first generation venture which has been conceptualized and is still being operated on a modest scale. As a result, it has got modest funding and it has faced all the challenges of a startup over the last 9 years of its inception and growth. Ola, on the other hand, has been a late follower. It came 5 years after Ether, but it came aggressively. It has been a fast developer. It is a second generation venture because the first generation venture is the ride handling Ola's company, and it has come up with an ambitious scale, large funding rounds, power of being a unicorn. The environmental push for electrification has decisively accelerated between 2013 and 2020. It has benefited all the electric vehicles in general, but Ola in particular. With this, we come to the end of this lecture on industrial transformations. I am sure you would have found the data and information provided in respect of multiple industrial transformation very educative and very helpful. This shows the level of reorientation that is occurring in the Indian industrial and business system. And the case study I have given of Ather and Ola Electric also illustrate how entrepreneurship is going to drive the kind of transformation that we are going to see in several industries and in several businesses. This is going to be the key for the success of India's $5 trillion economic mission to be accomplished latest by 2030. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I look forward to seeing you in the next lecture.